A lawyer called me on November 14th, 2024 at 2:47 p.m. and told me my wife was suing me for divorce. I sat there, phone in my hand, staring at the wall of my apartment, and said 7 words that made him go completely silent. My wife died a year ago. There was a long pause. Then, Mr. Harrison, we have extensive documentation that your wife is alive. She filed these papers herself. Are you trying to obstruct legal proceedings? I wasn't trying to obstruct anything. I was trying to understand how my wife, who I buried on November 12th, 2023, after she died in a car accident, was apparently alive, well, and suing me for everything I owned. This is the story of how I discovered that someone was using my dead wife's identity. How that someone had been living as her for 8 months before I knew. How they'd opened credit cards, taken out loans, and built an entire false life in her name. And how when I finally found out who was behind it, the answer was so twisted I still have nightmares about it. This isn't a story about grief. It's a story about identity theft on a scale the police had never seen. And it started with a phone call from a lawyer who thought I was lying about my wife being dead. My name is David Michael Harrison. I'm 38 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon. On November 12th, 2023, my wife Emma died in a car accident on Highway 26. She was 36 years old. We'd been married for 11 years. She was driving home from her sister's house. A truck driver fell asleep, crossed the median, hit her head-on. She died at the scene. I identified her body at the morgue on November 13th, 2023. I planned her funeral. I buried her on November 16th. I went through her belongings. I closed her bank accounts. I notified Social Security. I did everything you're supposed to do when your spouse dies. For a year, I grieved. I went to therapy. I took time off work. I moved out of the house we'd shared because I couldn't live there anymore. I tried to rebuild a life that made sense without her. And then on November 14th, 2024, 2 days after the first anniversary of her death, a lawyer called and told me Emma was suing me. Let me start from the beginning so you understand how impossible this was. Emma and I met in 2011. She was a graphic designer. I was a software engineer. We met at a mutual friend's wedding. Started dating in 2012. Got married in June 2013. No kids. We'd been trying, but it hadn't happened yet. We were happy. Not perfect, but happy. Normal marriage. Arguments about dishes and money and whose family to visit for holidays. But solid. Good. November 12th, 2023, started like any other Tuesday. Emma took the day off work to visit her sister Rachel in Beaverton. Rachel had just had a baby, our niece Lily. Emma was excited to meet her. She left at 9 a.m. texted me at noon, "Lily is so cute. I'm staying for lunch." At 2:15 p.m., I got a call from an Oregon State Police officer. "Mr. Harrison, there's been an accident on Highway 26. Your wife was involved. You need to come to OHSU Hospital immediately." I drove there. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the steering wheel. At the hospital, a doctor met me. "I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison. Your wife didn't survive. The impact was severe. She died at the scene. We're very sorry." They took me to see her. She was on a table, covered with a sheet. They pulled it back. It was Emma. No question. Her face, her hair, the birthmark on her left shoulder, the scar on her eyebrow from when she fell off a bike as a kid. It was her. I identified her body, signed paperwork, called Rachel and told her. Called Emma's parents and told them. Made all the horrible phone calls you have to make. The funeral was November 16th small. Family and close friends. Maybe 60 people. Open casket. Everyone saw her. Everyone said goodbye. We buried her at Riverview Cemetery in Southwest Portland. I spent the next 6 months in a fog. My job gave me bereavement leave. I extended it. Went to therapy twice a week. Stayed with my brother for a while because I couldn't be alone. Eventually moved into a one-bedroom apartment in Selwood. Couldn't go back to the house Emma and I had shared. By May 2024, I was starting to function again. Working. Seeing friends occasionally. Not okay, but surviving. I didn't touch Emma's accounts for a while. Too painful. But eventually I had to. In June 2024, I started the process of closing her credit cards, canceling her phone, handling her estate. Her estate wasn't complicated. We owned the house jointly. I sold it in July. Split the proceeds with her parents per the will she'd made. Closed her bank accounts. Paid off her car loan. Standard stuff. By September 2024, I thought I was done. All her accounts closed. All her affairs settled. She was gone, and I'd handled everything the way you're supposed to. Then came November 14th, 2024. I was at work, software engineer at a tech company downtown, sitting at my desk, working on code, when my phone rang at 2:47 p.m. Unknown number. I usually don't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Is this David Harrison? Yes. Mr. Harrison, my name is Richard Chen. I'm an attorney with Morrison and Associates. I'm calling regarding divorce proceedings initiated by your wife, Emma Harrison. I froze. I'm sorry. What? Your wife filed for divorce on November 1st. We've been trying to serve you papers, but you haven't been at your residence. I'm calling to inform you that if you don't respond within, my wife is dead. Silence. Long silence. Then, excuse me. My wife died. A year ago. November 12th, 2023. Car accident. Mr. Harrison, I have her signature on these documents. I've spoken to her directly. She came to our office. That's impossible. I buried her. Mr. Harrison, are you saying you're not married to Emma Jane Harrison? I was. She died. I have a death certificate. More silence. I could hear him shuffling papers. Mr. Harrison, I'm looking at documents here filed by Emma Harrison. Social Security number matches the one on file. Driver's license photo. She came to our office in person. Provided extensive documentation of your marriage, your assets. Send me everything. Right now. Every document. Every photo. Everything. I can't just. My wife is dead. Someone is using her identity. Send me everything or I'm calling the police. He hesitated. I need to verify this. Can you provide proof of death? Yes. I'll email you her death certificate right now. Give me your email. He did. I hung up, pulled up the death certificate I'd scanned and saved. Sent it to him. He called back 3 minutes later. Mr. Harrison, I'm looking at a death certificate dated November 12th, 2023. For Emma Jane Harrison. That's what I told you. But I met with a woman calling herself Emma Harrison 2 weeks ago. She had ID, Social Security card, credit cards in her name. Send me a photo. From your office. Security cameras. Whatever you have. I'll need to check with my partner, but hold on. I waited. 5 minutes. My heart was pounding. Someone was pretending to be Emma. Someone had been to a lawyer's office. Someone had filed divorce papers in her name. Richard came back. Mr. Harrison, I'm emailing you a photo from our office security footage. November 1st, the woman who came in claiming to be Emma Harrison. I opened my email. Refreshed. The email came through. I clicked the attachment. The woman in the photo was not Emma. She was blonde. Emma was brunette. She was taller. Different face. Different build. Nothing like Emma except. I zoomed in on the photo. She was holding a driver's license. Emma's driver's license. With Emma's photo. But when I looked closer, the photo on the license had been altered. It was this woman's face. Photoshopped onto Emma's license. Mr. Harrison, are you they? That's not my wife. Are you certain? I buried my wife a year ago. That woman is not her. Someone is committing identity theft. I need to contact my managing partner. And probably the police. Mr. Harrison, if what you're saying is true, we've been party to fraud. Send me everything. All the documents. I'm calling the police right now. I hung up. Called Portland Police non-emergency line. Explained the situation. They told me to come in and file a report. I left work immediately. Drove to the precinct. At the police station, I met with Detective Sarah Martinez. I explained everything. Showed her Emma's death certificate. Showed her the photo Richard had sent. Showed her the divorce documents he'd forwarded. She looked at everything. Looked at me. Mr. Harrison, you're saying someone has been using your deceased wife's identity to file for divorce? Yes. Why would someone do that? I don't know. That's what I need you to find out. She started typing. Okay, let me pull up your wife's records. Social Security death index, credit reports, any activity since her death. She typed for several minutes. Her expression changed. Mr. Harrison, I'm seeing activity on accounts in your wife's name. Recent activity. What kind of activity? Credit cards. Opened in March 2024. For different cards. Total credit limit, $47,000. Current balance, $43,000. I closed all her credit cards in June. These are new cards. Opened after her death. Someone applied using her social security number, her identifying information. They were approved. How is that possible? She's dead. It's in the system. Death records and credit reporting systems don't always sync immediately. If someone has enough information, they can open accounts before the systems catch up, or they can exploit gaps. What else? She kept typing. There's a car loan. Opened April 2024. $38,000. BMW 3 Series. Registered to Emma Harrison. And a lease. An apartment in Lake Oswego. Signed in Emma's name in May 2024. Monthly rent, $2,400. I felt sick. Someone's been living as my wife for 8 months. It appears so. They've built an entire identity. Credit cards, car, apartment, and now divorce proceedings. This is sophisticated. How do we find them? We start with the apartment. The lease will have contact information. We'll need a warrant. But given the circumstances, that should be fast. In the meantime, I need you to contact every credit bureau. Place fraud alerts. Freeze Emma's credit. Contact Social Security. Make sure her death is properly registered everywhere. I spent the next 3 hours on the phone. Credit bureaus. Social Security. Banks. Every call was the same. Yes, I'm reporting identity theft. No, I'm not the victim. The victim is dead. Yes, dead. Someone is using her identity. By 8 p.m., I'd placed fraud alerts with all 3 credit bureaus, frozen Emma's credit posthumously, and flagged her social security number. Detective Martinez called me at 8:47 p.m. Mr. Harrison, we have a warrant for the apartment. We're executing it tomorrow morning. I'll call you after. I didn't sleep that night. Sat in my apartment staring at the photo Richard had sent. Who was this woman? Why was she pretending to be Emma? How did she get Emma's information? November 15th, 8:34 a.m., Detective Martinez called. Mr. Harrison, we executed the warrant. The apartment was empty. Cleared out. No furniture, no belongings, nothing. But we found something interesting. What? A laptop, hidden in a heating vent. Whoever cleared out forgot it. We're getting a warrant for the data. I'll call you when we know more. 3 days. I waited 3 days. Couldn't focus. Couldn't work. Just waited. November 18th, 2:15 p.m., Detective Martinez called. Mr. Harrison, you need to come to the station. We found something on the laptop. You need to see this. I drove there immediately. She led me to a conference room. Sat me down. Mr. Harrison, what I'm about to show you is disturbing. Are you ready? Just show me. She opened a laptop, pulled up a folder. This laptop belonged to the person using your wife's identity. There are files here. Thousands of files. Photos, documents, personal information, and videos. Videos of what? Videos of your wife. From before she died. She clicked on a video file. It was Emma. In our kitchen. Cooking. Talking to someone off camera. The date stamp, August 2023. 3 months before she died. Who filmed this? Detective Martinez clicked another video. Emma in our bedroom. Getting dressed. Date stamp, September 2023. She didn't know she was being filmed. The camera was hidden. Another video. Emma in the shower. Another in our living room. Another outside our house getting into her car. There were 247 videos. All of Emma. All filmed without her knowledge. All dated between June 2023 and November 2023. Someone had been watching her. 4 months. Filming her. Studying her. Who did this? Detective Martinez pulled up a photo. We found this in the files. This is the woman from the lawyer's office. Her real name is Kelly Brennan. Age 34. She has a record. Fraud. Identity theft. Did 5 years in prison, released in 2022. And Mr. Harrison, here's where it gets worse. She pulled up another photo. Kelly Brennan in 2019. Before prison. She was brunette. And she looked like Emma. Not identical, but similar. Same height. Same build. Same hair color. We think Kelly targeted your wife specifically because they looked similar. She watched her, studied her, learned everything about her. And when your wife died, Kelly saw an opportunity. She had all the information she needed. Videos of Emma's mannerisms. Access to your house where she'd planted cameras. Knowledge of Emma's life. She dyed her hair blonde to differentiate herself, got a fake ID with her photo but Emma's information, and became Emma. How did she get into our house to plant cameras? We're still investigating. But Mr. Harrison, there's something else. We pulled records. Kelly Brennan was employed by a home security company in 2023. SureGuard Security. They installed. We had SureGuard install our security system. June 2023. Kelly was the technician who came to your house. She installed the system. And she installed hidden cameras. In every room. She watched your wife for 5 months. Learned everything. Then after Emma died, she became her. I felt like I was going to throw up. Where is she now? We don't know. She cleared out the apartment November 13th, the day before the lawyer called you. We think she knew something was wrong. We've issued a warrant. We're looking. What was the divorce for? Why file for divorce? We found the documents on the laptop. She was trying to claim half the value of your house. You said you sold it in July. Yes. For how much? $640,000. I split the proceeds with Emma's parents. I got $320,000. It's in my savings account. Kelly filed for divorce claiming she was entitled to half the marital assets, including the $320,000. If the divorce had gone through, she would have gotten $160,000, plus ongoing alimony. That was her goal. But I would have fought it. I would have said Emma was dead. She was counting on you not knowing. The divorce papers were being served to your old address. The house you sold. She thought you wouldn't get them until it was too late. She'd get a default judgment. Take the money and disappear. But the lawyer called me. Because his firm is thorough. They tried to serve you, couldn't find you, and called. That phone call saved you $160,000. Maybe more. I sat there processing. Someone had watched my wife, studied her, waited for her to die, then stole her identity, opened credit cards, got a car, got an apartment, lived as her for 8 months, then tried to divorce me as her to steal my money. Have you told Emma's family? Not yet. I wanted to tell you first. I need to call them. I called Rachel, Emma's sister, told her everything. She was silent for a long time. Then, someone was watching Emma? In our house. Yes. For months. Yes. And we never knew. No. She started crying. I heard her husband James in the background asking what was wrong. She told him. He got on the phone. David, what the hell is going on? I explained again. All of it. The cameras. The videos. Kelly Brennan. The identity theft. The divorce. James was quiet. Then, is Emma's grave okay? Do we need to? I'll check. Tomorrow. I drove to Riverview Cemetery the next morning. November 19th, went to Emma's grave. It was fine. Undisturbed. Flowers I'd placed on the anniversary were still there. But standing there, looking at her headstone, I realized Kelly Brennan had probably been here, had probably visited, had probably studied this grave. Maybe taken photos of the headstone to use in her fake identity. The thought made me sick. Detective Martinez called on November 22nd. We found her. Kelly Brennan. She was in Seattle trying to board a flight to Mexico. We arrested her at SeaTac Airport. She had $52,000 in cash. Money from the credit cards she'd opened in Emma's name. She's being charged with identity theft, fraud, stalking, and invasion of privacy. When's the trial? Probably 6 months. But Mr. Harrison, there's something else. We found more on the laptop. Kelly kept journals, digital journals, about Emma, about you, about her plan. You need to see them. I didn't want to, but I needed to know. The journals were detailed, meticulous, disturbing. Entry from June 15, 2023 Installed SureGuard system at Harrison residence today. Emma is perfect. Same height. Similar features. She doesn't suspect anything. Planted cameras in master bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living room. Now I just watch and learn. Entry from August 3rd, 2023. Emma's mannerisms are easy to copy. The way she holds her coffee cup. The way she laughs. The way she talks to David. I'm becoming her. When the time comes, I'll be ready. Entry from November 13th, 2023. Emma died yesterday. Car accident. Perfect timing. I have everything I need. All her information. All her passwords. I found them on her laptop during the security installation. She kept everything in a file called Important Info. Idiots. I'll wait a few months. Let David settle the estate. Then I'll become Emma. New life. New identity. New bank account. Entry from March 12, 2024. Applied for credit cards in Emma's name today. Used her social security, her mother's maiden name, her birthday. All approved. $47,000 credit. This is going to work. Entry from May 28, 2024. Signed lease for Lake Oswego apartment. Told landlord I was recently divorced, moving for work. They didn't question Emma's ID. Why would they? She's dead. No one checks if dead people are opening leases. Entry from October 15, 2024. Time for the big move. Filing for divorce. David sold the house for $640,000. He got $320,000. I want half. $160,000 is enough to disappear. Mexico. New identity. New life. Emma Harrison will die again, and I'll become someone else. Easy. That was her plan. Become Emma. Take my money. Disappear. Become someone new. She would have gotten away with it if Richard Chen hadn't been a thorough lawyer. If he hadn't called me. If he'd just served papers to my old address and processed the default judgment, Kelly would have gotten $160,000. I would never have known Emma's identity was being used. The credit card debt would have destroyed Emma's credit posthumously, but Kelly would have been gone. The trial was in May 2025. Kelly Brennan pled guilty to all charges. The evidence was overwhelming. The videos, the journals, the fake ID, the credit cards, the apartment lease, the divorce filing. She was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. Identity theft, fraud, stalking, invasion of privacy, multiple counts. At sentencing, the judge asked if I wanted to make a statement. I did. Kelly Brennan didn't just steal my wife's identity. She stole my memories. Every moment I remember with Emma in our house, I now know someone was watching. Our private moments, our conversations, our life together. She watched it all, studied it, planned to replace Emma with herself. Emma died in a car accident. That was tragic. But what Kelly did was evil. She didn't just steal money. She stole my wife's dignity, her privacy, her memory, and she planned it while Emma was still alive. 15 years isn't enough. But it's something. Kelly looked at me. No remorse. Just cold. You would have never known if that lawyer hadn't called. She was right. I wouldn't have. That phone call, that accidental, routine phone call from a lawyer trying to serve papers, saved me from losing $160,000 and never knowing someone had stolen my wife's entire identity. Today is January 2026, 14 months since that phone call. Kelly Brennan is in federal prison. The credit cards she opened in Emma's name have been closed and discharged. The car has been repossessed. The apartment lease was terminated. Emma's credit is frozen permanently. Her social security number is flagged. Her identity can't be stolen again. But I still have nightmares. About the cameras. About someone watching Emma, watching us, for 5 months without our knowledge. About how close Kelly came to succeeding. If Richard Chen hadn't called. If he'd sent papers to my old address. If I hadn't answered my phone that day. Kelly would have won. I think about that a lot. How one phone call changed everything. How one thorough lawyer saved me from a fraud I never would have detected. And I think about Emma. About how even in death, she wasn't safe. About how someone studied her like a science project. Learned her. Copied her. Tried to become her. People ask if I'm angry. I'm not. I'm numb. Grief I understood. I could process Emma's death. But this? Someone watching her? Someone waiting for her to die? Someone stealing her identity 8 months later? I don't have words for what that is. Horror doesn't cover it. Violation doesn't cover it. Evil comes close. If you're watching this, I need you to understand something. Identity theft doesn't just happen to living people. It happens to the dead. And it's more common than you think. Someone dies, their identity sits there with all the credit history, all the accounts, all the information. And thieves know this. They target the recently deceased. They open cards. They take loans. They become ghosts pretending to be ghosts. Protect your dead. Freeze their credit. Flag their social security. Monitor their accounts. Because people like Kelly Brennan are out there, watching, waiting, planning, and sometimes they're in your house installing security cameras. Subscribe to this channel if you believe that identity theft laws need to be stronger. If you believe 15 years isn't enough. If you believe privacy matters even in death. If you believe that one phone call can change everything. Comment below. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me if you've experienced identity theft. Tell me if you've lost someone and worried about their information. Tell me your story. Share this video, because somewhere right now, someone's dead relative is being used to open credit cards. Someone's deceased spouse is being impersonated. Someone's identity is being stolen from beyond the grave. They need to know this happens. They need to know to protect the dead. They need to know that death doesn't end vulnerability. A lawyer called and told me my wife was suing me. I told him she died a year ago. He didn't believe me. But that phone call, that one call, stopped a fraud that would have cost me $160,000 and Emma's dignity. Richard Chen saved me. By doing his job. By being thorough. By calling instead of just mailing papers. Thank him for me if you ever meet him. Because I owe that man everything. My wife died November 12, 2023. Kelly Brennan tried to become her March 2024. She almost succeeded. But she didn't. Because one lawyer made one phone call. And I answered. That's the difference between losing everything and saving what's left. One phone call. 2:47 p.m. November 14, 2024. I'll never forget it. And neither should you. Protect your dead. Because people like Kelly are watching, waiting, planning, and they know you're grieving. They're counting on it. Don't let them win. Emma's at peace now. Finally. Her identity is safe. Her memory is protected. And Kelly Brennan is in prison where she belongs. But it took a phone call from a stranger to make that happen. Sometimes that's all it takes. One person doing their job. One call at the right time. One question that changes everything. Is this David Harrison? Yes. Yes, it is. And my wife is dead. And you just saved me from someone who tried to steal her twice. Thank you, Richard Chen. Thank you for calling. Thank you for being thorough. Thank you for not believing the woman who said she was Emma. Because she wasn't. Emma's gone. And she's finally at rest. Hit subscribe. Leave your comment. Share this story. And freeze your loved one's credit when they die. Because Kelly Brennan isn't the only one out there. She's just the one who got caught. The others? They are still watching. Still waiting. Still planning. Don't let them become your wife. She died once. That was tragedy. She almost lived again through someone else. That would have been horror. I stopped it. With one phone call. 2:47 p.m. November 14th, 2024. The day I learned my dead wife was suing me. And the day I learned someone had been living as her for 8 months. That's my story. Now protect yours.